Hello everybody, System Chalk here with another episode, I think it's the 55th of the Apostle Obsonate playthrough as Ike Upscribe. So we've been struggling a little bit trying to keep our reputation clean. The specific challenge that I'm running into right now is that a lot of the behaviors that I will do will generate either mystique or notoriety. So notoriety is fine because in the end that means that I'm doing more expeditions. Expeditions are going to get me additional books, additional lore, and ultimately bring me closer to the vitulation, which is our ultimate goal. And we have followers. Excuse me, I had a lot of tea just before I started streaming. Basically, that's going to bring us closer to our goal, and we have followers that are able to deal with the reputation. We're good there. The challenge that I'm running into is that in order for the notoriety sync that I've got in mind to work in its best form, I actually need to avoid generating mystique, because for the same reason that mystique can mislead the suppression bureau, mystique is sort of pulled alongside notoriety as part of the heart cultist's ability. And so if I'm not careful in terms of how that's handled, I can wind up in a situation where I make it harder for that ability to become available or to be useful, and so that means I either absorb the talk verb and I can't do anything else interesting, or I just simply equip the suppression bureau with the ability to bring a case against me. So what this has meant is that it's actually a little more difficult to make money than I had previously thought it would be. I think we've got at least one trip to the land beyond the forest in us. But that's going to be one of the things that we're going to try and resolve coming up. If in the worst case scenario, I do have a little bit of a safety mechanism in place in the sense that if I really feel like I'm in a difficult spot, I stop doing expeditions, then I can just sell a bunch of things at Oriflamme's. And in that case, that means I'm not generating notoriety, and so I'm either going to be able to do some more things at either more things at Glover and Glover, build up my savings, or I can do some of the activities that would generate mystique, but again, I'm not as worried about it because I don't have things that are generating notoriety, and as a result, I don't need to clear them out. I'm also not that worried about the potential dread that's going to be coming up because I do need to get rid of this fascination, and we don't have a season of despair coming up. So what we'll be taking care of for the next little bit is the remaining books that we have, and that's one of the reasons why I do want to try at least one new expedition in one of these unique locations, because I know the Unnumbered Stones is not going to give me an additional text. So here we'll read the Book of the True Blood. Cassius the Tomman reveals the deeds of the Unnumbered Legion, the secret army that protected Rome against the Shadowless Empire. The Legion's legate answered directly to the hour called the Tribune of Scars and was promised immortality if he died in battle. Alright, so we knew that was coming. Now, Fascination's going to come up when we turn the Forsaken Blood or Forlorn Blood into Savor's Blood again. But I'm not worried about that because it's going to this is going to go away in 27 seconds. Paintings whispers, windows wink. I know these things are not true, but how can I be certain? Alright, another rebellious spirit. So I think this is going to leave some winter behind, but I'm okay with that. I would rather have to deal with some winter than potentially have to deal with excuse me. I prefer to deal with that than potentially have to deal with the loss of a follower. So in this case, we will employ reason to get rid of it. Pronounce the words of dismissal, seal the circle tight, erase every trace. Okay. Earnest speeches, affable conversation. Let's try the Painted River again. Painted River runs from a great chamber near the White Door, far through the Mansus, to its far edge where it entered a painted delta of far cloud. I voyaged half its length last night with a stern-faced captain beneath a rust-red sail. As the clouds rose before us, the sailors raised a yearning shanty and close-hauled the sails to best use the painted wind, and all the while the captain and I discoursed on the secrets of the House of the Sun. Alright, so we need to take our forlorn blood and our delightful blood. So I consume the little vial of blood, lie back, close my eyes. Tomorrow I will be stronger. So in 10 seconds, we're going to generate some fascination, but this restlessness will be turning into dread in a little bit, so we can combine those two. Sickness. My illness has come for me. If I survive, I must taste the blood of our delight, and soon. If this illness cannot consume health, or Savor's blood, it will kill you. Alright. It's gone. We're safe. So, there's our reason. Chilly atmosphere, so that's going to turn into dread. I have one extra dread than what I need. But we'll manage. Okay, and the expedition's done. I should take a minute to just review the sort of all the events and stories that happened there, but I am much recovered. More than that, I'm sumptuous. The sclera of my eyes, the veins in my wrists are aswim with gorgeous serums. When the vitulation comes, I will be the centerpiece for our delight to prove their appetite and to enact the grail. Alright, there's a few things that I want to get done here. So got the Savor's blood, I have some vitality. Now I can't recover the health right away. I need to at least wait the 54 seconds to get the card back. But that's fine because we've got several cards of vitality. We also duck the suppression bureau potentially. We've got 12 seconds. It's not guaranteed that Dorothy will succeed with this, but it does at least mean that this threat is gone. I feel like I should be safe enough to convince the board to let me back, so my superiors must believe in my contrition. This is not a pleasant conversation, but it may be a necessary one. And the moonlight bleaches the grass to winter. All around the stones loom. Here in the tumulus side, beneath the turf, is a stone that will rise like a trap door. We must put our backs into it. The chamber inside the tumulus has half collapsed with the years. Fat white spiders crawl from the touch of our lamplight, insolently slow. The stone reliefs are cracked and dripping, but here the offering holds still with its treasures. Alright, so Neville's back, Enid's back, Sylvia's back. Oh, that's Sylvia. Sylvia's definitely not hard. We've got our 22-second Callagine and some more rose pearl dust, Lethe, and amaranthine nectar. I believe I might actually need that for the vitulation. The light shall give life, the delight shall take life, the delight shall not be sated. We must purchase the secret savors and infuse them with the hour's gifts, assemble the host, the most auspicious time, raise the resistless cries of unceasing mysteries, and share from the chalice murmurous. Alright. So there's at least a couple of those that I know I still need, so I'm not going to pursue anything else along those lines. Okay, 6 seconds before I can use the dream slot for the fascination. I think I can narrowly afford a new expedition, especially if I'm going to be getting my job at Glover and Glover back. I do want to be a little mindful of potential dread showing up. So this chilly atmosphere's got to go. Other than that, let's roll the dice and go to the Kuznetsov Endowment. Prince Kuznetsov gave 1/4 a part of his blood-soaked fortune to the establishment of a department for eschatology at this provincial university. The staff has grown peculiar now, and the buildings fester in a freezing swamp. But some of Kuznetsov's bequest, perhaps, was spent on treasures. So this is going to be an effort just to kind of keep the Callagine in place, so we're not going to have any followers go on this expedition right away. The journey to the endowment buildings is not long, but the ground is difficult. We have sent 3 times for permission to visit and received a less friendly answer each time. No doubt the staff will attempt to forbid our entry. So the moth will probably help us. We actually have quite a bit of forge as well, so likely 2 of those have already been dealt with, but I am going to need to put at least 1 more funds in to deal with whatever the 3rd obstacle is, and then of course any additional followers that we might need to get the job done. Right, Book of the True Blood. So we have more dread than I know what to do with. In the final part, Cassius confesses to being a former legate. He recounts his terror of the Tribune and divulges the secret lore of the Golden General, the champion of the Shadowless Empire, the enemy of the Tribune, in hope that the Tribune will someday be undone. And we have the Lionsmith's names, which is higher than the Colonel's names. The Lionsmith is young by the standards of ours, but old by the standards of war. His names are recent recruits, and their recitation has a savage power. So this is going to be happening a little bit more often with the higher level lore that we're reading. Now, there is one potentially sneaky thing I can do with this restlessness. Nope, I can't actually, because it is not winter influence. So I think in this case here, we're just going to get hit by a little more dread than we want to handle, and I need to start considering how I'm going to be getting some contentment. Ideally through the expedition slot, but we've already tied that up. So what I was originally thinking of is if you study influence, you have to study it with another... Oh, hang on. Can I subvert it into vitality? It might be possible with the right combination of influences to raise more power, but only if I have the necessary knowledge of the invisible arts. Okay, so if I bring in the invocation of the ivory dove, even in the snow, in the silence, in the white without colors, life will never quite cease. This will create heart influence instead of winter. Perfect. I learned something today. I'm safe for now. My adversary has not enough evidence to bring a case against me, and they found no new clues. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm sane if that means anything. No fascination drives your visions. It's over for now. So we still have one dread to deal with, but it's a little easier for me to generate contentment. Now potencies and potentialities align. Earnest speeches, affable conversation. No one understands us, or else they understand us too well. All right. So, unfortunately, that means I can't go back to the board at Glover and Glover quite yet. But I am going to try and keep things going, at least working, doing physical labor. So winter's coming must yield at last to spring. So pulsing airs, a rising power, a reassuring energy, 6th-order influence, significant resonances or correspondences. Neat. All right. Let's read the high mysteries of the innermost chamber of our church solar. So let's just keep in mind what's potentially going to happen here. This might generate fascination, which is good for me if it does. We've got 39 seconds, and then this dread is going to get picked up. Oh, actually, you know what? It's not so good because, again, I don't have another dread that's coming up. Yeah, it really is just the contentment that I need at this point. All right, fair enough. I'm still going to read the book because I sort of need it. Although I can maybe double check. So if I study dread with unbelievable, can I really turn this into... Great. All right. We'll use the Lionsmith's name. So find a moment of intensest of opposition. All of the greatest struggles end in death. So my gloomy thoughts are being transformed into the presence of edge in the world. Ah, night terrors. I wake in the night. My palms and face are beaded with sweat. I've intensified this edge influence. Oh, that might be something that's deliberately trying to keep me from converting edge. Okay, I'm going to wait 23 seconds. I'd love to read the book, but I want to see specifically what happens here. I've given my agents the opportunity to serve. Let us hope it ends well for us. So, treacherous ground, pits and quags and sudden tumbles. The earth here cannot be trusted. We will need strong hands or clear sight, forge or lantern. So we were good for forge. Mortals, perhaps even ordinary mortals, but quite a number of them. They can be fought, seduced, or deceived. So we're okay there as well. And then hidden door, same story as with the unnumbered stones. And I'd rather not put any followers in there just on the odd chance we're defeated by one of these obstacles. I guess I'll put some money in, but I'm a little light. So I've been offered another chance, and I am apparently expected to be grateful. So I need to show up within 100 seconds. Hopefully we can resolve my issues. I will take the time to do some unskilled labor, though. I won't follow the peculiar rumor. And again, we're keeping this study slot available just in case the dread gets the better of me. I really need to be careful on that one because we're losing our window in which to fix this. Slowly, my clenched fists relax, but I slide back into sleep. But something will remain, like spiderwebs in the corner of the room. Now this is going to convert into real dread. Yeah. So that's a good way to extend the life of dread if you're running into it. Okay, so let's see if I can... Nope, that's only works with lower level. Okay, so the better thing that I could have done would have actually been to use that with the winter, because that would have converted it into winter, and then that winter could have been converted into heart. So I've learned something. I've actually learned a better way of approaching that. I haven't really messed around with the influences that much. And in principle, of course, I could try and summon something with this, with the work slot, but in this case, I'm just going to take the hit, and we'll worry about generating contentment. So, the high mysteries of the innermost chamber of our church solar. The high mysteries of the innermost chamber of our church solar. The secret rites of a church of the unconquered sun, which held power in at least 2 histories. The church chiefly worshipped the sun and splendor, the original undivided sun, but this text also includes the devotions of its aspect, as the chilly winter dawn and the departing sunset, as well as the Menascate, the sun's night self. Priests of the church were all male, but rites are also included, which allowed women to cross ceremonially to manhood. Okay, so the affliction will be dealt with in just a little bit. Dark days, I must be careful not to let doubts creep in. Dread may provoke full-fledged despair. Nothing's happening next evening. So again, it's just a matter of getting the contentment. We invoke the Madrigard. The hour of forge as well as winter will make our own path through. Success is almost certain. The air is curdled now. I am home again in this lumpen flesh. Better, perhaps. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is cure my affliction. We'll use the oldest vitality. And I think I may have to roll the dice and go back to the board seat at Glover and Glover. I don't think I can afford to wait. Unless I know the notoriety is coming up, at which point that's more dangerous for me to deal with. But the day is done, and so am I, but I have earned my pay. You know, now that I think of it, 9.6 seconds isn't all that long to wait. At least then I have the certainty. Optimism is the spice which saves. Okay, so now we can try and use talk to improve things. I don't think there's any way for me to get contentment directly from a follower. Grail is used for other things. So again, I could turn in these works, but it still winds up being something that that sort of damages me in the long run. And I don't think any of these other ones are all that interesting to me at the moment. I'm just trying to think, like, there can be some cases where it's useful to have... Actually, you know what? I'm going to take a minute here. I would like to double check exactly what my... each of the... It's been a very long time since I've used disciples, or since I've used followers for certain activities. So I know... I think knock is burglary, heart is reputation management. Well, then again, moth might be burglary as well. Forge is for repairing. Yeah, I think like knife, like edge, and all of that is for assassination and such. But let's actually take the time and confirm what's going on here. So let's talk with Pope Clifton. Significant conversations in a smoky meeting room. What do I need from my follower? And we can get augury. My disciple can probably determine times and places where power will be available for our uses, but in matters of the Mansis, there is always danger. So this might also generate notoriety. I may not actually want to follow through on this, but... Alright, the church's highest rites were performed by in the Concursum, the chamber where the Mansis Heart, at the Mansis Heart, where the hours were known to pass. These rites include salutations to non-solar hours, the Grail, the Ring-Yew, the Horned Axe, and the Thunderskin. And we have the formula Concursit. The Concursum waits at the Lantern of the Mansis. It has been called the Chamber of Ways, and also the Chamber of Endings. Its intricacies are probably beyond the human comprehension, but these formula are a first approximation. And we did, as predicted, get the fascination. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do anything about it. If I get any dread, that's going to go straight into the bleak thoughts. So we are now out of books to read. What I'm going to start doing is upgrading my forbidden epics. That's going to mean generating some glimmerings and erudition. I actually already have the erudition, so it's just a matter of glimmering for now. Now, one thing for me is I know that I can just go to a wiki and learn what these followers do, and of course I learned them at some point, but it's been a while since I've actually used my followers for other things, and it would be nice for me to have a little bit of a better idea in terms of how this works. So just as a heads up, the way I'm going to be handling this is I'm actually going to be testing it in the game and trying to do it in safe ways. Obviously, again, everybody's got their own way of playing the game, but I think there's something kind of interesting if you forget something to actually have to do it in the game and live with the consequences. So obviously Ike is kind of following this very narrow road where they're trying to keep a low profile, and usually the behaviors of your followers are not going to be that that subtle. So I think that'll be a fun little experiment to be running while I'm trying to get all this other stuff done. I do need to be careful that I don't get in the way of like clearing up the notoriety through Leo and Clovette and Dorothy and such, but that's going to be a thing that I work on. Finally, I did want to just take a quick second here and say that I know some of you came to watch the stream on Steam that happened last weekend to celebrate Cultist Simulator's 3rd birthday. I did record that, and it seems like the video is intact. I obviously haven't reviewed all of it, but I think it's something that I'm able to upload. I have not started uploading it yet because it does take a lot for YouTube to ingest, and I wanted to make sure that this week's videos were ready to go. So I'm sorry I didn't talk about that in the last video, but for those of you who wanted to see that stream or have an archive of it, that will be coming online at some point, all things going well. Also, please keep in mind it's a 14-hour video. I don't actually expect anybody to watch it, but it's, it is something that I did. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, I would love it if you would leave a like or a comment, or tell your friends about this sort of a thing. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, it does help me out if you do subscribe. And if you want to know when the next video is coming up, you can hit the notification button, but I will always be uploading Cultist Simulator at 6 o'clock on Wednesday and Friday. I hope you all enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all on Wednesday.